seconds.
Yeah! Oh, goodness, that's wonderful! Keep your eye on the ball, Bob!
30 seconds.
Woo! Sandy, I don't believe it! I don't believe it!
I'm just going to be rambling about what I think about this game. I've been working on it for 212 consecutive days, over 330 hours, and I'm giving up on it now. I'm giving up because I realized it was too tightly scoped and it's not quite the game I'd actually want to play, and over 7 months in, I still don't know what the mechanics are. The game's premise was that you'd be a hacker, and I wanted it to feel like with a good atmosphere, so there's an actual apartment you live in, but you don't leave it at all, you're just in that one space, because the game is basically just a text adventure. So you'd be hacking into these systems and there's story and plot with it. I'll just say I put a lot of effort into the story, plot, and world within this game, which looking back on it now is not a good way to start a video game. It's a good way to start any other creative aspect, but it's not a good way to start a game. As such, when I hopped into coding, I was just kind of thinking about what needed to exist in this world. So I spent a lot of time making a fully featured command line interface. It's not as in-depth as anything that exists now, obviously, like an actual command line interface, but it was pretty good for what I was making. In fact, it was too much for what I was making. There were a lot of features that the player would never actually use, considering the skill set that you would be doing in the game. Furthermore, this game didn't test me on all of my skills. This game, the 330 hours, was almost all coding. It wasn't much of anything else. I worked with shaders a bit to make an ASCII shader, I mixed with sound to make a modular telephone, and I played with sound to do all of the atmosphere around the game, but overall it was pretty much just code.
A lowly tarnished, playing as a lord. I command thee now!
With this game, when I started going into it, I gave up on the idea of needing to make wealth or have a lot of popularity with the game. That's why it's so niche. But even so, I should have recognized that it wasn't a game I would want to play. That should have been the most important thing to me. I mean, it's a world I wanted to see come to life, but it's not exactly a game I wanted to see come to life. It's not until now that I really realized that. With all this being said, I was worried that when I stopped working on this game, that I would really never complete a game. I worry about the true reality that I might never make a video game. I might always keep giving up. I've never made a full game, and canceling this project really makes me worry about that. Even though I was tepid though, I decided to give up on the project because I wanted to work on something that I really wanted to play and something that I felt was mechanically driven rather than story. I also wanted to challenge myself on every aspect of game design. I didn't want to get into a situation where all I could really do was code. So I'm still trying to keep scope. I think this project taught me a lot about scope, and I even learned more about being too ambitious because with the actual mechanics of how the story would progress, it was quite mechanically complex. Not in the sense of what the player would do, but what the world could do and what characters could do. Altogether, I learned quite a lot from this. I made an ASCII shader so you could see a video get converted into ASCII characters, same with live footage, so like in-game. I made a modular telephone. I made very organized code with a complete in-depth logging system that you could see output to the screen. I worked on crafting atmosphere with sound design, so I worked a lot on sound design. I had to do like a lot of saving and unconventional loading that you would need to do for the actual hierarchy. And overall, I had a lot of moments of pride with this project. I don't think it's a failure. I think it was a good call to stop working on it. As much as I love this game, it wasn't really going anywhere, and I realized it's not the kind of game I really want to make. It's not something I'm extremely passionate about having been made, if that makes sense. Like, if I were to keep working on it now, I would still be completely passionate about making it, but I want to make a game that will also be passionate to show to people, and this game really wasn't that. There's not really a sense that this is something great, and that's what I want. I want to make something that's really different and makes a game feel like something that is unique. I think so many games try to mimic movies, or they try to be more like arcade games, which I think are outdated. It was a design meant to keep you pumping in money, and I think there's a lot more games can be. Ultimately, this game wasn't really reflecting that. It's a text adventure, which means it's much more like a novel, just like a choose-your-own-adventure novel, and I want to do something a bit more ambitious. With that being said, I'm going to be containing a much tighter scope on what I make. It's just the ideas need to be more crystallized as I'm going into it. I'm still working on this every day. Obviously not this game, but I'm working on my next game. And I want to be committed to actually finishing this one. I don't care what comes into my mind of how it might be failing. I want to actually finish this game, and that's kind of the point of making this video. If you're watching this, I am promising to you that I'm going to be making this game and you'll have something playable by the end of this month. I hope you'll be sticking around to check it out, and that's pretty much all I have to say. Here's some videos of Relay 84.
Slick with it. I'm a bit
A
slick.
bit
with
of a
corrupted
slick
monk.
man.
I don't know if you've heard. I'm Jonathan.
Sure you've heard of me, Jonathan.
Jonathan Sekiro.
Sekiro?
I died. I was real close. I
Jonathan-
think that's it for tonight.
Jonathan Sick Fade though?
Sick ass fade.
Sick ass.
Jonathan sick ass fader.
That's all you need to call me.
Needed to find the mortal razor to shave this fade into existence.
I need the second mortal blade for this sick fade.
It's just a little razor, just
Step
gets the fade in.
into Genichiro on the field, and when you kill him the first time, he takes out the razor, just starts cutting the sickest fade, and you're like, no, no, no.
Sickest fade. I can't control the fade.
Okay, everybody, get ready.
Get ready now. 15 seconds.
Here we
Get
go.
ready.
Into the